Welcome to We Can Make It Better. My name is Jacob Hathaway, and we're going to be doing a quick overview of a compassionate system, what that even means, and how we can build it with today's technology. This video is only meant to be a quick overview of a 70-page paper that is currently available on my Patreon, links in the description. Along with those links will be other links to other videos that go way more into depth on the concepts that I'll be bringing up in this video just briefly. So to begin, I've created some basic animations and pictures in Paint to help illustrate stuff and show descriptions, and we're going to jump right into that. Compassionate system. Compassionate system. What even is that? I didn't come up with it. John B. Calhoun did, and I found it in his paper Environmental Design, Research, and Monitoring from an Evolutionary Perspective. Calhoun takes a step back and tries to predict the next huge systemic leap that would advance humanity forward. He coined the next big step a compassionate system and described it as a system where compassion can be used on every level of society in every situation regardless of bias. This was an awesome discovery thanks to the fact that Calhoun's family have made his research free online, and I would encourage you to check it out yourself. Links in the description. He gave me hope when I was first starting, with him predicting the very year I discovered his research, shortly after starting to pursue this whole goal. He even predicted all of that with flawed data, which I find even more impressive. A compassionate system can be constructed using just current technology and an understanding of math. This would consist of three major things. I will break them down here quickly, and then we will take more time to describe them each individually later. Firstly, the voting system. This is the mathematical crutch that makes all of this possible. Thanks to Kenneth Arrow and Duncan Black, we have a mathematically perfect voting system. This voting system has never gone into mass use, but is used in many of the highest positions in world politics. Next, we have a positional tracking system. This is in reference to tracking relative information and opinions in three-dimensional space with a computing system. We can thank Raphael Sorkin for his early work of causal sets to start laying out the fundamentals of this mathematical method. I also want to put a big thank you out there for Stephen Wolfram, who translated this over into computing systems and made a super impressive calculator you may have heard of called Wolfram Alpha. You should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it before. So, just to be clear, none of these people have ever heard of me. I've been avoiding paywalled education out of principle, so I don't really have any kind of open communication or contact with any professionals. Next thing that is required, and the last thing that is required, is a sociological media. Sounds fancy, but really it's just social media. Any would work, but in my paper on Patreon, I go into detail on a bunch of rules and concepts that would make social media not just much more comfortable for everyone involved, but much more accessible for everybody and reliable. These three concepts alone would allow a system capable of fulfilling the requirements to be considered a compassionate system. I would also like to reveal my favorite part of this whole thing, and that is diversity is equal to power. The only true limiter on this whole thing is those who limit their social interactions. I didn't design it this way. It's really just the nature of humanity. Before we go into detail on any individual concepts, I want to take a second to say that I really feel like I discovered this whole thing much more than I created it. I found reference to it in nearly every great thinker that I've come across, and now that I have written and presented it, I feel like my whole role is minimal. Like, I could be totally involved from this point, and it would still develop naturally. This is a system that requires the world to get involved in the world. This system is simply a tool to streamline and aid in this. We aren't looking at some easy fix. We are looking at a lot of hard work and self-improvement. But together, we can achieve way more than we ever could alone. Okay, now let's take a moment to break it down even further, starting with the voting system. So the voting method that Duncan Black and Kenneth Arrow worked out was a perfected system mathematically, but still needs a large-scale test. We are going to use 2 different groups of 3 people with 3 options to vote from. We have Squarehead Dude, Hourglass Top Hat Lad, and Circle Sam. The options are A, B, and C, and represent whatever you want. For this situation, they'll just remain letters for simplicity. First, let's look at the style of voting that you're probably most used to, ranked choice voting. Everyone takes their turn. Square votes for who he wants most. Hourglass does as well, and Circle does the same. They have come to a standstill, however. This can be fixed, and I'll show you how soon. But first, let's take a look at how rated choice voting works. Instead of Square choosing his favorite, he's able to express his opinions on a scale from -10 to +10 on all of the options available. The other voters can do the exact same thing. Once all the tallies are taken, we can quickly compare the preferences, and a clear image of winners and losers appear. Opinions of A are added up to 7. Opinions of B sum up to 9, and C only hits 4. The results can be displayed clearly like this. What about the ranked voting system? If we're using it now, it must work. On some level anyway. And I mean, it totally does. Who even has an election with only 3 voters? So we're going to add 2 more. Diamond Bro and Cyclops have joined the vote. The votes are retallied, and a clear winner is still not available. But this also happens in modern voting, and there is a solution: a special election. This means the least liked candidates are removed, and a new election is run. However, if no one changes their mind and everyone votes the same, then one vote counts more than all of the others. Hourglass. He stands out because now his vote is the deciding one. This would mean that a single individual, or in reality, a minority, would have complete control over the vote, making them a dictator. Really only mathematically a dictator, but for this case, it still counts. What do I mean, a dictator? Well, let's take a look at the work of those who figured it out. 5 conditions were presented that were required to have an effective voting system, and we will run through them now. I want to real quick give a shout out to Veritasium for their video on this topic, linked in the description. Since I've learned all of this for free, channels like theirs really helps me a lot. Thank you. Condition 1 pretty much means if everyone votes one way, the result should show it. So if everyone voted for A, then A should be the winner. Condition 2, no dictators. This means that no election should be decided by a single individual under any circumstances. Condition 3, unrestricted domain, which means everyone should be able to vote however they want, and their votes should not be discarded or cast out. Condition 4, transitivity, which is a really fancy way of basically saying the math must hold up under inspection, and you can't just make up new rules to adjust. Condition 5, independence of relative alternatives. Another fancy wording that really just means that if a new option is presented, that it should not change the previous outcomes. If A would win over B, then introducing C would not change their order. It could only upset A's win if it were more preferred than A and B, but B cannot suddenly win over A due to C suddenly appearing. Okay, Let's see how these two voting systems compare against these conditions. Condition 1, unanimity. They both are capable of expressing a popular victory, mostly. Condition 2, no dictators. Well, we know from comparing earlier that ranked choice voting fails this one. Rated choice voting was once considered the same, though, and actually Kenneth Arrow and Duncan Black's careers were spent proving that while it appears that under specific conditions a dictator appears, this person is the most neutral or mediated member of the election, and his dictator appearance is a reflection of the neutral position in a well-mediated election, which they both confirmed rated choice voting achieves. Condition 3, unrestricted domain. From the sample election, we can quickly tell that rated choice passes, while ranked choice voting does not, due to its design requiring special elections that cast aside unwanted votes. Condition 4, transitivity. Rated choice voting passes. And now, I only really have the American political system to base this off of. But with the Electoral College in place, popular vote can be cast aside, and so it fails. Condition 5, independence of relevant alternatives. While the rated choice voting system breezes through this test, the ranked choice voting system crashes and burns. Even in recent history, with third-party candidates being forced out of the race to not throw off the election for main party candidates. With everything said and done, the new voting system is far superior, but without massive testing, it cannot be said for sure. However, logically and mathematically, it's pretty clearly more effective and efficient. Next, we're going to take a look at the math required to use the voting system to express information in 3 dimensions using computers. But first, let's take a quick rundown of how perspective works in 3-dimensional space. To better understand how people's opinions and ideas can be expressed in 3-dimensional space using this perfected voting system, we're going to slow down and look how perspectives work in 3-dimensional space. Let's take a look at Adam for this. Adam is rational and understands the world around him, and knows what he sees and is not afraid to argue with others about what is right and wrong. When he sees something, he knows how to inquire and collect information and make assessments to figure out what is going on. Like with this hill he can see in nature. Now Adam always stays on his side of the hill. He is traditional and respects consistency after all. This is Hourglass Lad. And here we have Square Bloke. They are from the other side of the hill, and because of it, they have very different views of what's going on. And when compared, their realities don't really add up. To any of the individuals, that is. It is only when we triangulate their locations we can get a concept of the true shape of what they are observing. This is in reference to emergent truth. This refers to how truth can only be decided by understanding all aspects of a concept. This would work with concepts, topics, and any other form of idea, all the same. And we could map out their relations using relations to one another. Triangulating locations of others in reference to information would quickly spread from a few links into at an exponential rate as we use some complex math and computing to help assist. And understanding society through society with society. This would mean creating a whole new type of supercomputer like none other. This leads us to sociological media. Really, I'm just talking about social media. This whole process would supercharge any social media that implements it. I go in depth in my paper on how it can be designed so that diversity and social structures are taken into consideration and used to fuel positive interactions instead of stirring up controversies. I propose creating a social media platform that is designed, overseen, and constructed by its users as a non-profit organization. This means all profits must be put back into the system. A platform designed by people, for people, while remaining upfront and honest about information gathered about its users. We could create safe space for everyone to learn and express themselves and better understand the world around them. Properly implemented, it would revamp the sciences and accompanied by a free education system, we would bring a new level of understanding and discovery to the human sciences, but also to the STEM branches of sciences as bias is used to our advantage and not as a bottleneck on information. Social spaces would make it possible to accurately respect and represent any and all cultures from around the world. This could also aid in communication so that everyone is able to feel safe on the website regardless of age, sex, creed, or gender. Now, to a few things that are my favorite about this system before I sign off. Just a reminder, if my explanations seem lackluster, check the descriptions for more skilled science communicators that have covered these topics before. My first favorite thing. This system is powered by diversity, and that means even if 1,000 or 1,000,000 clones pop up to compete, it is only the system most capable of accommodating and understanding the widest range of peoples that will overcome. So I have no fear of releasing it to the world like this, all for free, which leads me to my next point. My second favorite thing. I'm obsolete. I'm no longer needed for this project. Don't get me wrong, I would happily work on this project for the rest of my life, alongside a few other projects I have going. But I could kick the can tomorrow, and this project would still be unstoppable. I find anyone who tries to build anything that relies solely on themselves to be really short-sighted. I would rather think in the scale of tens of thousands of years than the next couple. My third favorite thing, the timing seems perfect. And the way I'm setting it up, everybody can help be a part. So, hang out after this next quick summary if you want to hear how you can be a part of this whole development. A compassionate system, which is a system that allows compassion between interactions everywhere. This can be achieved using rated choice voting. That takes information and feeds it into a processing unit that takes relative positions of information in three-dimensional space. This, plus a healthy social media system, would allow a functioning system capable of further understanding our place in the universe. Check out my Patreon for all the details from how we can test and prove my theories, as well as my full 70-page paper that is available for free. You do have to sign up for Patreon. While there, consider giving to help me trying to make the world a better place and pursue truth. If you want to get involved, check out my Patreon and the Discord channels set up for professionals to meet and start working towards designing a better future. Whatever your interest or expertise, we can use your help, because I literally can't do it alone. If you have expendable income that you'd like to donate, check out our fundraiser links in the descriptions as well. Thank you so much, and good luck out there.